there in the open. Hokies in the white, Howard in the navy blue. We are underway in Blacksburg. Noe Uimana on the defensive side for Virginia Tech, another man to watch out for. Very crafty for the Hokies. Has the ability to score, but we haven't seen him score in a few years. When he got to Virginia Tech, had a couple of absolute banger goals. Let's see if he can open that side up of his game again. Hokies with Diego Dozier as the keeper here today. Transfer from Temple. That's midfield to Uimana. Now a chance for Virginia Tech and Alex Perez. Marcano. Comes Perez. A reset at the midfield for the Hokies. Stolen away. Wimberly, the Howard freshman, coming from a Howard legacy. The defensive play there, and now a Hokie is down.
That was a quick whistle on that injury, as I think our center must have seen it happen right away, as Howard had gotten the ball on a turnover. I'm not sure that they were really going to think about moving quickly. I think we're going to expect to see Howard play pretty deliberately, even in moments of transition, but our center official there whistled that one dead pretty quickly, as he saw perhaps a cramping or leg issue.
That's Marcano down on our first stop here, just over a minute in. Well, a recap of what season has been so far for Virginia Tech. Mike Brizendine had them up against a really tough team, Adam, in Ohio State, a team that they were able to upset at Thompson Field last year. But going on the road, Coach Brizendine testing this team out early with a Big Ten foe on the road in Columbus. Gave up a goal there in the second half, lost that one 1-0.
It was a tough matchup, particularly on the road. Ohio State's a good program, as are many Big Ten teams. Conceding that goal off a corner kick. It was a well-taken goal off the corner, but obviously if you're Virginia Tech, you want to be a little bit more organized and thwart those attempts. The Hokies were outshot in that game as well, so trying to, again, bounce back, trying to get that tempo going. Coach Brizendine telling us once again that they wanted to be a little bit sharper in that attacking third. So you're going to try and see that as a point of emphasis here today, as I think you're going to expect to see Virginia Tech have a lot of the ball here this afternoon, have a lot of possession. So what are you going to do with that? What are you going to make of that? Can you have some possession with purpose and some sharpness and crispness?
Marcano getting injured on the play. Let's get another look at it here. Tangled up with Wimberly. Doesn't look incredibly devastating, and potentially a hamstring.
Yeah, right to the back of that leg there, and I think that's what you saw the official whistle so quickly, as his hand went to that back of the leg there. And I think Virginia Tech's going to go ahead and use the sub early.
Well, the Hokies will. Checking in for Tech, it'll be Luke Hamill, the freshman from McLean, Virginia. He comes in relief of the junior from Gaithersburg, and Marcano, another guy with scoring experience for Virginia Tech. So that is an unfortunate early loss in the game. We'll have to see if Marcano comes back later. And that's another thing, Adam, that every team has to deal with, obviously. But Howard comes in, and we were talking with head coach Philip Jow before this, and he's like, well, we only played Delaware with 13 guys, Virginia Tech with an early injury. I mean, it is a whole odyssey to make it not only through the preseason, but the entire season unscathed with injuries.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, attrition is part of the battle in a college soccer season for both men and women.
Cross into the 6, trouble there. Howard able to recover after the cross from Ruiz Mateos. Virginia Tech has pressed early on in this game. Here's Perez. The touchline, and that goes off of the boot of Justin Mims for Howard. So another quick throw in coming up for the Hokies.
Marcano is such a productive player for Virginia Tech in his 2 seasons, now in his 3rd season, but a regular starter, has 9 assists on his career.
Service on the cross, and it goes off of the foot of the attacker, and Virginia Tech prompts a goal kick for Liam Keeler and Howard. Mike Brizendine looking on as the head coach, almost 2 decades as the head man of this Virginia Tech men's soccer program, 23rd season overall as a coach here in the Virginia Tech men's soccer history that has been rich with him as the head man. Ruiz Mateos. Hokies have had the ball on the Howard side of the field for the entirety of the game, which, mind you, has only been 3 minutes, although it does feel like a little bit longer after the injury. Oh, what a nice little through ball. Flag came up anyway.
Probably feels a little bit longer for Howard, having to defend. Again, still in the early going. I think this is going to be a lot of what you see, though. Howard's going to be in a defensive posture. The opportunities will be, can they manufacture perhaps something in transition, catching Virginia Tech, throwing those numbers forward, and trying to maybe have something on a counterattack. And then off of that, can you get a set opportunity, free kick, corner kick? Can you generate something off of that?
And Philip Chow, who was looking on there, the Howard man playing for the U.S. men's national team at the end of the 80s and early 90s, had 6 caps for the Americans. Defense standing tall there for a moment and booted away towards midfield. Foot race, and it's ultimately won by Howard's Marshall Lloyd. Slipped up. Wide open at midfield for Cameron Wimberly. See what it can do here. Ambitious pass. Goes into the box, but Noe Uimana watches it roll beyond the back line for a Hokies goal kick.
A little bit too quick there from Howard. I think there possibly were a couple more touches and space that could have been taken there. But it was a nice little switch there. Ball into the middle of the field as Virginia Tech is, again, looking to put pressure on. Maybe got a little out of shape there. Allowed that pass to be incisive in towards the middle.
Dozier. Perez has been all over the ball for Virginia Tech early on. Now here comes another throw in for Howard. Tasked with Lewis Perkins now, sophomore from Silver Spring, Maryland, as Philip Giles targeted a lot of his recruits from the Washington, D.C., Maryland, Northern Virginia area.
Howard is a really proud program. Of course, we're so good in the 1970s, winning the national championship in 1974. Undefeated 19-0, and then a nice run in the late 80s as well, playing for a national championship against Indiana.
Chance developing for Tech now. The cross near the 6. Crisis averted for Howard, but only for a moment. Perez slides with the left foot. Out wide, it's a goal! Jaden Chan Tack scores for the first time in a Virginia Tech uniform. The freshman off of the left foot with a laser into the back of the net.
Well, Coach Brizendine wanted to see some sharpness in the attacking third, and that's what he got in that sequence. Good passing around the edge of the box and an absolute great finish here. Oh, off the back heel, one time into the back of the net. Watch this clever touch here right in the middle. Thank you very much. A great strike there, puts the Hokies up 1-0.
So Chan Tack, a player that Mike Brizendine has been so high on, he gets his first career goal for Virginia Tech. What a time to do it. Played all 90 minutes in his college debut against Ohio State. And now the Hokies are on the board for the first time in 2026. Not wasting any time here. Almost off of the right foot. Kept low. And Chan Tack was thinking about maybe goal number 2, would have a brace within seconds of the first goal.
Yeah, then decided to play it square, but I think he maybe should have just gone ahead and taken a rip for that brace.
Right, right.
It's hard to fault someone for trying to be unselfish and share. It actually wasn't a bad idea. Had 2 good options there.
Parker Polk was the man who got the assist, so freshman to freshman connection. What a nifty move. I got to give it to Chan Tack for not wasting any time and getting that big goal to put the Hokies up. But man, what a feed that was on the back heel.
Absolutely, those were 2 good touches, and it was into Polk too, played well. Surprised don't have a hockey assist on there with 2, perhaps after reviewing some tape. That might change, but again, good sequence, good passing. Talked about it in the open, wanting that pace, and you're seeing Virginia Tech definitely dictate this. And again, Howard's coming in a little bit banged up, shorter bench. You don't see a lot of activity there, dealing with that injury bug. They were in a defensive posture most of the night against Delaware. Going to have to do that again. It makes for a difficult day, but going to have to try and respond in some spots here because they're definitely going to absorb a lot of pressure here today, but you can manage that if you guys have to get your legs back underneath you.
Philip Zhao came into today knowing this was going to be a big challenge, coming off of a loss, going on the road to an ACC team, and doing it with a limited amount of reserves.
Yeah, Coach Zhao's, though, very excited about his team. I think at full strength, obviously, was what he's looking forward to, trying to make a dent in that Northeast Conference. And, you know, these matches are good learning experiences.
Good effort there by Chase Vasquez for Virginia Tech. Another play to watch out for in the midfield for the Hokies that we haven't gotten to mention yet is Giannis Belitrosh, the transfer from UCF in his 2nd season at Virginia Tech, wearing a captain's armband with Noe Uimana. Very physical, had 3 fouls in that first game against Ohio State. Chan Tack. Perez recovers. Long sprint. Goal is open. Hokies want a foul call. And it looks like they will not get it. Vasquez wanted his first goal in a Hokie uniform.
Yeah, we'll see if perhaps that play is challenged or if Coach Brizendine will let that one go, as there was contact as the keeper came out.
Another look here.
Looks like he clips them here on the back end. I'd be surprised to see a challenge here. It's a little, that contact happened a little bit behind the ball. Now we're going to move on to a corner.
I'll play on for a corner here. Be Perez to take it. Going front post. And Caban booted the ball out of harm's way, but the whistle blew anyway. Liam Keeler has been busy so far for Howard. Well, returner had to make 8 saves against the Blue Hens just a few nights ago. It was a Howard team that had 5 wins last year, 5-11-2, competing in the NEC. And Philip Zhao, much like how we talk about the ACC, Adam, Had a lot of great things to say about the NEC and the competition that's there for the Bison in that conference.
Yeah, he particularly mentioned the NCAA tournament match between Fairleigh Dickinson and Duke, in which he felt that Fairleigh Dickinson was the better side in that one. Didn't get the result, but certainly went toe-to-toe. And you can see teams from all across the country be able to challenge even top Power 4 programs.
Chance developing for the Bison now. We get a long-range effort. Out to the wing. Chan Tack recovers for the Hokies on defense. Perez, breakaway chance for the Hokies. Vasquez wants it. Ruiz Mateos potentially open in the box.
Howard does a nice job getting its numbers back.
Fed towards the 6. Ruiz Mateos. Chan Tack still charging on the ball. That was Simmons. Cleared away. Lewis Perkins sends the ball to midfield.
And that's the difficult part for Howard. They got the ball back, dispossessed there at midfield, and then just had to go play backwards and build out. And it just is so much pressure that Virginia Tech's able to put on, makes things difficult.
Goal kick for the Hokies. Now, Adam, when you're Howard here, you've been on your back heels for the first 13 minutes of this game. What are the little things, or maybe even the big things, that you can do to change how this game has really tilted?
Well, I think it goes back to that play where Chan Tack was dispossessed. What do you do then? Can you connect some passes? Can you find something going forward? And it doesn't have to be quick. You don't want to rush yourself and say, okay, we finally got the ball. Now let's go, go, go. You have to be really deliberate and try to find those open spaces and build on that. Connect a few passes. You have to have some possession with purpose.
Bellatrosh trying to find that now for Virginia Tech. Moves the ball to Chan Tack. Here come the Hokies again on the far wing. Uemana sprinting into the box. Hokies getting dispossessed. Flag does not come up. The whistle blows. And Virginia Tech wants a call here. A yellow card comes out. Where does that foul happen?
Yeah, I think it was right on the outside of the box. That's not going to be a penalty, but it was right on the edge. Perkins going to get booked here, and it'll be a good look for Virginia Tech off the free kick.
Another look at this. How close is it from Polk? Yeah, right outside of the box. That was about a foot away from being a penalty.
Really hard challenge there on the edge of the box.
Now we'll see a really interesting set piece here for Virginia Tech. Hokies stomping into the box now. Towards net, punched away. How can Howard respond after the save from Keeler that went right at the keeper for Howard? And now a goal kick.
A good hard strike there from Hamill, but right at the keeper, who's able to punch it out. Well positioned. So many saves are made before the shot's even taken, right? Putting yourself in a really good spot. Howard able to escape danger. Nothing coming off of the rebound.
Half an hour left here in the first half. I almost have to give Howard some credit here to the fact that this game is only 1-0. Hokies have controlled possession the entirety of the match. Dozier. Ruiz Mateos.
And that's another place where you see pace and tempo show up. How quickly can you get the ball and thrown back in? And you see Virginia Tech working very quickly to try and play fast.
Hamill now. Coming in off of the bench after the injury to Marcano. Off the boot of Bellatrosh. Hokie throw in. You can tell Virginia Tech is trying to make something happen here for Vasquez. Perez into the middle. Keeler picks up the loose ball. That time it was for Polk.
Well, we talked about Alex Perez for a while, and he has been all over the place. We talked about him being centrally, but he's been all over the field. It doesn't matter. That might be where he starts out, but he's moving all over the spot. That time he had a nice ball in there. And again, you're making Howard make decisions, right? When to step up, who to play. You've got some runners coming into the box. So far, Perez has done a nice job pulling the strings there in the midfield and making things happen.
Dozier, it's been a clinic so far for Virginia Tech. Sun peeks out again here at Thompson Field. Game one of a soccer doubleheader. Hokies on the men's side taking on the Bison now, and then on the women's side, Big Ten versus ACC, Virginia Tech versus Maryland. Bellatrosh works to the wing. Ruiz Mateos, good feed to Uemana. Howard still fighting for a clearance. And they get it.
Yeah,
here comes some space for Howard. Off of the great pass from Marshall Lloyd. Sharif feeds out wide. Daniel Caban lets it go over him. Development now for Wimberley. Mims and far post. Dozier able to stifle the Howard attack. Really one of the first attacks we've seen today for the Bison.
Yeah, it was the best sequence for Howard so far, and showed patience in a lot of areas, in a lot of ways, but then Mims sending that ball in, probably had a couple more touches to maybe build something of significance there, but sending that one in, and the keeper's easily able to field that one.
Here's Peralta for the Hokies. Virginia Tech coming into this 2026 season after 7-4-5 in 2025, missed the NCAA tournament. Really the story will be, how can they navigate through non-conference before going up through that gauntlet of ACC play? Because Mike Brizendine even said this is a conference where everyone can make the tournament. And a lot of times you'll look at a team that can go through and have a sub-500 record, Adam, in the ACC and still get into the postseason at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's not a surprise at all. I think Syracuse might have been one of those teams last year kind of fitting that bill, a little bit lower in the table of the ACC, still making the NCAA tournament. Another run here for Virginia Tech.
Perez, Chan Tack. Cross, Chan Tack! Off the side of the net. Oh, you could smell the brace.
Well, he's putting himself in really good spots. And we talked about him laying one square before, then lays this one off to the side, but gets it back and just misses here. He's getting himself in really good spots. Oh, just tries to turn that around. That's tough to handle. Looks like he maybe even got it off the knee or thigh, but still a really good attempt. Looking for that second goal.
Now the freshman from Denver has looked good so far here today in the first 20 minutes.
Very impressive. You love those outside backs that can press forward. But as the season goes on, you really have to make sure that you are tight defensively first. You know, you love those guys going forward and getting involved, but you have to make sure that they are doing that job on that back line first and then fly forward.
4 shots for the Hokies. Howard yet to log one. Uemana with space. Uemana, a young man that Brizendine spoke highly of, says there's a chance for a professional contract for a guy like Noe Uemana.
And when you can defend one-on-one like he can and win those battles, there's always a spot for someone like that on a team. Been so crucial. 47 games played in his career.
Off the left foot! Oh, it was a great feed for Perez. Nearly 2-0. And Vasquez, you can hear the Hokies bench say, keep going. And Virginia Tech has certainly done that. They've been inches away from a goal. Oh, just missed the connection there, Adam.
Yeah, again, if you're Virginia Tech, you like what you're seeing. You can't score on all of them, right? So we talked about being sharp in that attacking third. That doesn't mean you're going to score on every ball that's put in there. But certainly, I think that might be one that you think that you could put the finishing touch on.
That Keeler misses everyone there, so the Hokies waste no time with the throw-in. A crafty touch. Ruiz Mateos. Uemana wins the ball back. Off of the foot of Marshall Lloyd. Peralta.
And if you're Virginia Tech, you want to really, you've made Howard defend for a large part of this first half, and you want to just continue to create, make them defend large pieces of land here, right? Like chase from side to side, chase vertical, not just sit and be patient, but have some variety in those runs.
Ruiz Mateos with a cross. And to track it down. Able to do so this time for Howard Wimberly. I give credit to Wimberly. The freshman has been in the mix for Howard so far early on today. Clearance unsuccessful, long chance. Here's Perez. Perez works around, and the Hokies want a handball.
Not sure if it's going to be a handball, but it should be a corner. Popped up, I thought, off the chest there.
So it will be a corner as Perez loads up here for the corner. Close.
It was close. The hands were close to the body, though, too, so they weren't extended.
Oh. Header and to goal! Giannis Belatrash! A set-piece goal for Virginia Tech. And it's the senior from France who comes up big for the Hokies.
Well, this delivery is put in with so much pace that Belatrash just has to redirect it because it's coming in hot on that near post.
Well, Alex Perez gets the assist, and Virginia Tech looks like business as usual. Didn't even celebrate that much, and oh my goodness. You're right, that did come in hot, Adam.
Yeah, it's perfectly placed there. Belatrash gets to the spot, redirects it, and Perez gets an assist as he should. He has played really well here, deserving of a point.
Well, first goal for Belatrash this year. Had 1 goal last year for the Hokies, so has already matched that in game number 2 of the 2026 campaign. Now the Hokies up 2-0. Now how can Howard respond? Maybe catch the Hokies off guard after celebrating the second goal.
It's just been difficult for Howard to have any sort of sustained possession here as they're surrounded by white shirts almost on every touch. And again, it takes so much energy when you're sitting and defending that when you get the ball back, you have to really summon the energy to get going forward.
Speaking of summoning the energy, Polk almost summoned the ball right back in bounds there.
Yeah, stepped right on it.
Yeah, impressive. But the flag came up. Now a Howard throw in. Good statement for Virginia Tech so far after coming off of a tough loss, opening up the home slate against Howard. A win there. Simmons, back for Lloyd. One immediately back by Perez. Vasquez wants it. And the defense locks in step again for the Hokies. Ruiz Mateos. Ruiz Mateos creates space. And unlucky touch there for Lloyd. That was close to being on net. It'll be a corner.
Yeah, dangerous. And for Howard, the giveaway was just too easy in the midfield. You have to make Virginia Tech really try to work to get the ball back, and it was just a little bit too easy there. And lets Virginia Tech start going the other way.
So Troy Stison, who we highlighted in the open, he is in wearing the number 13 shirt. See the immediate difference that he could potentially make here coming off of the bench. Cornejo also coming in off of the bench for the Hokies.
Lucas, go, double. Lucas, go.
And Perez convert on another corner. Chani, the freshman from Morocco, also running in for the Hokies.
Lucas, front. Go front.
A long break here.
With the clock still running, sometimes when the teams have to get organized, the referee will stop the clock, but not in this instance.
Hamill is waiting short. See if Perez bends this to the box. He will. Near post. Off the foot of Troy Stison. Trying to turn around. And a good effort right off of the bench, but still wide.
I think it was Belatrosh at that near post once again, trying to flick it across the face of goal. And a couple of looks here for Virginia Tech. Just can't quite get those hips around and put it on frame.
So if you're just now joining us, 2 goals for the Hokies, one from the freshman Jaden Chan Tack, his first in a Virginia Tech uniform, and the other from Giannis Belatrosh, the veteran. Wasting no time again. Howard just cannot get a break.
Welcome to the game for your Hokies, number 13, Dagger Trasausen. Number 23, Madai Katani.
Another cross.
And number 29,
And off of the deflection, goal kick.
Honestly, that was a bit of a shaky clearance attempt there for Howard. Lucky for the Bison to have that one then go off a Virginia Tech player. You see there, I think you got to direct that one direction or the other, and it just went right over top of him.
Until though, Katani coming in, the freshman for Virginia Tech. He's got some fresh legs for the Hokies. And right off of the opportunity for the Bison to get out of dodge here, here comes another free kick for Virginia Tech, knocking on the attacking third.
Yeah, that's what makes college soccer an interesting dynamic, the ability to substitute. And I think as the ACC season goes, you'll probably have, you know, right now Howard just doesn't have the personnel available to be able to sub. So what was already probably an uphill challenge gets even more difficult as Virginia Tech is cycling in, fresh legs and fresh bodies to throw at what quite honestly right now is a tired Howard team.
Here's Katani. It's low, and Keeler falls on the loose ball before Virginia Tech can try to plunge it home for the third goal of the afternoon. And with that lack of depth for Howard, you're really testing the senior in net here, Liam Keeler. He has been busy so far in this game.
Yeah, we showed Keeler's stats, career stats there a bit ago. And what I like to see, his career save percentage is .663. But last year it was .714. So that increased save percentage makes a big difference. And off to a solid start. Listen, he's under siege right now. He is seen all kinds of things come his way. So being able to have a high save percentage is going to be really critical in these early going matches for Howard and as the NEC season gets underway as well.
On the physicality end, you saw right there, Bellatrosh had a little bit of space for Virginia Tech, but the freshman Joshua Singleton coming off of the bench for Howard forces the Hokies to regroup at midfield. Less than 15 minutes to go here in the first. Peralta.
I mean, those are the two defenders for Virginia Tech playing well on the other side of the half here. So you see the numbers forward for the Hokies.
Chan Tack now already with a goal. Spreads the ball to Katani and clocked away. He set at midfield. Amir Arieli. Name we haven't really talked about that much today because Virginia Tech hasn't really had to do much on the defensive side. Waimana goes to the ground, recovers. Arieli. Around again, Hamill. Left footer. Oh, that was close. Over the crossbar.
Almost a highlight reel goal there. That one sails over the crossbar as Hokies look to make a few more substitutions here.
Well, Adam, since Katani has gotten into the game, he has made some noise for Virginia Tech. You've seen the speed. Goes off of the left footer there. That was dangerously close to the third goal. Bellatrosh getting the relief now. Matthias Johannes also coming in for the midfielder and Alex Perez. So now the Hokies flexing a little bit of depth here that Howard is unable to utilize. And now here comes Hamill. Long range. There's a deflection as that ball sails onto the roof of McComas Hall.
Yeah, I think that's the danger here too, as you're up 2-0 and really in control and do whatever you'd like to do. Perhaps a little bit more sustained possession here. Look at some attempts rather than taking a shot from about 25 yards.
I got to correct myself, Adam. There was no deflection on that at all. It probably would have been physically impossible for a ball like that to get that high in the air off of someone else's boot. Troysterson. Kept alive in the touchline by Katani, excuse me. Katani, left foot! Oh, that was almost so beautiful. And a customary applause by the Hokie faithful for the efforts of the freshman.
Look at the bend on this one. Just over the crossbar, almost in that upper 90. Love to see that left foot and get that ball curling.
I'm feeling we might see a golazo here from Katani if he's given a few more opportunities like that.
Came off the bench in the opener as well, and coming on and having a significant impact in this one as well. Again, it's such a different component with the substitutions here in college soccer. You can give a couple of different looks with all of the subs that you're able to make. You can, have some variety in your style and personnel, and defenders are used to seeing the same one guy, and then all of a sudden somebody's coming in with fresh, with maybe a different strength or a different way to play.
And that's what the non-conference season is all about, and we're lucky enough to have the call on both of these games here today. And when we asked the coaches, what do you think of your team? Most of the time, they were like, well, I think I like them. I don't know yet. And that is what both teams are really trying to learn here today. The Hokies able to have a little bit more of an opportunity thanks to being more healthy than Howard here today to cycle in a few new players. But they're still trying to figure out not only how good they are, but how well they play with each other.
Yeah, it's a short, long season, right? I mean, not a bad idea there from Howard, but there's just so little time. You're playing oftentimes twice a week, and you just don't have a ton of time to figure it out. So, there's a couple of matches of preseason, and then you're playing for real. You're playing for points. These matches in August can affect your NCAA tournament resume. So, you got a short amount of time to figure it out, but it's important to get different looks, see who works well together. That's such an important part of that. It's not always about, again, because you can substitute so much, it's not about your first 11 and then just locking it in for the rest of the year. It's who comes on and what kind of skill sets do they provide.
Troysteson, will we see a long-range effort here? Out wide. Resetting for the Hokies, Chan Tack. And another solid effort by the Bison to stifle the Hokies' developing offensive momentum. Now 10 minutes, under 10 minutes left to go in the first half. Tani. Here's Dozier. Hokies goalkeeper who gave up just one goal off of a set piece against Ohio State. Searching for Uemana. Alvarez.
Yeah, Dozier's performance against Ohio State should not get lost in the shuffle. 7 saves in that match. Again, key part of keeping that 1-0. Goal conceded on a corner.
T.S. Johannes. Inching the ball forward, Arieli. Uemana. Johannes with a cross. Troysteson over his head. Still pressing. Troysteson finds himself with the ball. Johannes over the bar.
Well, I think a little earlier that Virginia Tech maybe settled too early for a shot from distance. That one, though, was a good sequence, and I think the right time to take this strike. As you see Troysteson in the middle holding things up, and a good look at it there for Virginia Tech.
Campbell had the ball for just a mere second. And back into possession for the Hokies. Alvarez. Another effort developing for the Hokies. Recharging back in. Kicked wide, it'll be a corner.
like that was good positioning there from Joshua Singleton, clearing things away there right in front of his keeper. Does concede the corner, though.
Another corner coming up for the Hokies. Already have one goal off of a set piece. Corner kick today. Caprolo off of the bar. Play still developing.
Well, Virginia Tech is liking the first touch on that near post. Scored the goal on it, then it has a couple of looks on flicks from that near post. Another good look there by the Hokies, hits the crossbar. But again, knocking on the door, trying to stretch this lead by one more goal.
Dozier. Oh, 2 goals here. Jaden Chan Tack and Giannis Belatrash. Now space again, Kitani. Right footer, punched away. Throw in Virginia Tech. Hamill forces yet another corner for the Hokies.
Keeler with another great save there for Howard. He's been pretty solid between the sticks for the Bison this afternoon, and also had, again, a strong outing against Delaware. Seeing a lot of shots come his way.
Another big test here. Whistle blows as the Hokies and Bison stack up. Going back post. Still in the air. Uimana. Dozier. In an uncomfortable position there off of the rush from Luka Hislop.
A lot of legacies for Howard, and Hislop is another. Obviously his father, a prominent figure on the scene, was the starting goalkeeper for Howard when we mentioned them making that national championship appearance. Obviously a long and distinguished career in the Premier League as well.
Kitani, good ball from Uimana now. And out for a deep throw in for Virginia Tech. 3 minutes left in the first half. Tias Johannes feeds Peralta. Arieli. Johannes had that good rip that was just over the post earlier. Goes cross pitch. Too ambitious, throw in Howard.
You said the exact word, it was ambitious. You like the idea of the switch there, but that one was a tough needle to thread. It was on a line as well. Usually you see some of those switches kind of be big and looping, but that one needed to be driven. Just too difficult to get on the end of that one, but you like the idea.
The Hokies have enough time to develop another goal-scoring chance, and can Howard sneak one away here in the final 2 minutes of the first half? Throw in Bison. Throw in Hokies with 1.5 minutes left. Troistis.
One of the things I think if you're Coach Brizendine that you'd like to see is the subs have come in and maintained that level of intensity and urgency. You might expect that, I guess, with subs coming off the bench, but it's not always a guarantee. I think the level has not dropped at all when the substitutes have come in, and it's been an interesting dynamic to see them. A couple of players cycle in and cycle out. We take another look at this one here.
It looked like the right foot was stepped on by Joshua Singleton for Katani. Lost with a left foot. He wanted Troistis. Uimana.
And the last seconds of this here, you kind of feel where Howard is there. There might have been an opportunity to play quickly, but with just 15, 20 seconds left, I think the Bison just want to get out of this half.
Now Virginia Tech wants one last shot. Hamill. Itani kept the ball in play. Long effort, we won't see it from Noe Uimana, and that is halftime. So a goal for the freshman and Jaden Chan Tack, and another from the veteran and Giannis Belitrash. And it is 2-0, Virginia Tech up over Howard here and Blacksburg. So we're going to be joined by the head coach of Howard, Philip Jow. Now, Coach, guys were tested a lot there in the first half. What'd you?
Because you want to score that banger from 30 yards. You want to be a little bit more patient, I think, in some spots. Again, you're really kind of picking in the margins, I think, in that first half.
Oh, how about this, Adam? For Virginia Tech, those 15 shots in a half, the most shots in a first half for a Hokies team in 2 years. Had to go all the way back to October 2024 against Winthrop to have a comparable first half for Virginia Tech. Now here comes Howard right out of the break, trying to test Virginia Tech's Diego Dozier, and he goes down, the goalkeeper for Virginia Tech. And hope he is okay. If you're a Hokies fan watching this game, the transfer from Temple. Howard did not waste any time at all to try to get something going here.
You see this is going to be a little bit after the play there. Just tripped up a little bit. I thought it might have been a little bit more malicious on first glance, but.
Kept on the ground. Perez, off of the post.
Must have hit on the outside of that post there.
Oh my goodness, what a rip.
If you're looking for Virginia Tech, one of the goals is to have some quality touches inside that 18-yard box. Maybe not settle for those 20 to 25-yard shots, but that was a terrific look and a terrific strike there by Perez right off the bat.
Now if you're Howard, have some fresh legs. Got to rest at halftime. What can you do after the intermission?
Well, it's so interesting. We can talk tactics and formation and all we want, but at some point, you got to have a little bit of confidence to go forward.
Hokies knocking on the door once more, slotted low. Perez can't roll it by Keeler. That was another chance for the junior from Las Vegas. Hokies up 2-0, 2 minutes elapsed here in the second half.
And another great look here by Perez. He was able to really nail the first one. That one, I think, got deflected by a Howard defender that lost all its pace, and Keeler was able to make that save.
Coming out with a head full of steam, and Vasquez and Alex Perez. Two guys that got a good amount of shots off against the Buckeyes. Have not scored yet. Belitrash. Chan Tack goes down. Going for Howard. Corey James was ready to take it.
As I was saying there, Bailey, you got to have some confidence in these 1v1 situations. If you're Howard, Coach Jal talked about playing negative in some spots. You know, at some point you got to be able to be confident in your dribble to win and go forward. It's the only way that Howard's going to be able to try and manufacture something.
You got to imagine that number 33, Daniil Caban, who we highlighted at the beginning of this game. You know, I say his number to kind of remind everyone to look out for him in this because he hasn't been able to get the ball. So watch out for 33 on the pitch because when he does have it, there's an opportunity to make this a brand new ball game for the Bison.
Yeah, and what we talked about in the open is one of his strengths is being able to press. Well, this is about the only situation that Howard has been able to perhaps even think about pressing. You see him putting a little bit of pressure on the keeper there, but you know, Virginia Tech has had the ball in such a high spot on the field that Howard hasn't even been able to really press from its forward spot.
Out on the back line. Perez wants it again. Uimana. Chan Tack, who already has a goal. Across the head and a goal. No way, Uimana. The scoring drought is over for Noe Uimana on a perfect service from Perez. 3-0 Virginia Tech.
The Hokies with some good early looks here in the second half and cash one in here. A well-delivered ball on the cross and headed in. Get another look at here. Oh, perfectly placed off that header. Uimana gets to it first and puts it in the back of the net.
Well, his first goal since the season opener of 2024. And comes in the 50th minute here. You just had a feeling with a recharge after halftime that Virginia Tech was going to create a goal-scoring opportunity. And of the ones we have seen, that looked almost the most easy, Adam.
Yeah, one of the most difficult things to do is score a goal, but Virginia Tech, with that really good service out in those wide spaces, and again, it looks like perhaps a little bit of fatigue setting in for Howard. Those crosses weren't connecting in that first half. But again, with the fatigue, the tired legs, Virginia Tech rested, looking strong here in this second half. Yeah, that's a spot right there, I think, where Coach Zhao was saying it was too easy of a giveaway.
Stolen away. Virginia Tech retains possession. Out wide again. Chance potentially developing into the 6th. Chan Tack, a brace for the freshman. What a day for the young man from Denver. 4-0 Virginia Tech.
Well, Virginia Tech has had some good execution, getting in those wide spaces, driving towards that end line, and then shooting it back across. This one's going to get all the way to Chan Tack on that back post, and then off that left foot, weaves it between a teammate and a defender. Keeler has no chance on getting over there. And it's now 4-0 Virginia Tech.
On a day where he scored his first collegiate goal, he gets his second as well. And the flurry of goals starting to come down for this Virginia Tech side.
And I think that was always going to be the risk. You know, talking to Coach Zhao, it was about kind of having that depleted personnel. We talked a little bit about it in the first half. It's that this game, as this game continues to go, Virginia Tech able to bring in some fresh legs and continue to try and wear down Howard. It just gets so difficult to defend for 90 minutes, but you have to like the resolve that Howard had, particularly in that first half. It was only conceded those 2 goals. Now just has to find the energy somewhere. those reserves to try and find something going forward.
So with the Hokies scoring 44 seconds apart, can Howard try to sneak onto the scoreboard? Not with a pass like that. Vasquez with space. Running deep into the defense with Perez. Vasquez. Vasquez was getting pulled down. Whistle blows. Yellow card. Looks like for the Hokies. It's going to go on Alex Perez here. Well, actually, we're going to have to correct that. It's a yellow card on Howard. That's Marshall Lloyd happening after the play.
Yellow card issued to Howard, 15, Marshall Lloyd.
Even after the yellow, Hokies wasting no time. So the yellow card dealt out at midfield. I'd imagine with the goals coming 44 seconds apart, Adam, there's going to be some frustration that amounts for a Howard team that's already playing with a limited amount of men. Now you're down 4-0. That composure will certainly be tested here with 38 minutes left to go.
Yeah, frustration and fatigue can lead to some plays that end up being cards. You know, if you're a little bit late on a tackle and you're frustrated, you come in hard. That card was behind the play, as I think Ruiz Mateos got taken out well after the ball was played. Some harsh contact. The referee let him play on. That's why that sequence went, and then the card was issued later. But yeah, frustration plus fatigue is the equation there for yellow cards.
Here comes Howard. Pump fake, long effort. And a rare shot for Howard. And certainly maybe a glimpse of some offensive momentum for the Bison. That was Singleton.
I think probably the first shot of record here today.
I see there the shots 19-1.
Again, you go back to Thursday night, and Howard conceding 33 shots in that one as well. So it's been tough sledding in the opening two matches for the Bison.
Touch for Mims. Belatrash feeds Chan Tack. He's now on hat trick watch now. Corner upcoming for the Hokies.
Certainly have to like the dynamic that Chan Tack has brought to this Hokie squad, flying forward from that left back spot, getting on the end of two here this afternoon.
Hokies have scored off of a corner. Perez took that one as well. That was scored by Belatrash. Lofted back post. Soft header. There's Peralta. Now a throw in as that ball rolls down the hill.
Yeah, we saw a lot of those corner kicks in the first half go to that near post. That one trying to get floated there towards the back post, get something off of that.
Another corner.
And again, Virginia Tech having a lot of success driving towards that end line. Good things happen there. You can either drive one across the 6, as we've seen already, and also if there's a deflection, you get a corner opportunity.
Headed straight into the air. Keeler swipes the ball out, left foot, able to make the save.
Keeler does enough on both of those plays. Would have liked to maybe get a little bit more on that punch, but is in an okay spot there to make that second save off the rebound at the top of the box.
So Hokies bringing in some substitutes. Looks like it's going to be 5 of them. Imagine with a game like this, Virginia Tech already up 4-0, you're going to see the entirety of the bench for Mike Brizendine as he's still trying to learn this team, getting them some big reps before they take on a team in Kentucky, and then making their way through the non-conference slate before going up against the juggernaut of the ACC.
It's got to be a little bit of the worst nightmare there for Howard too, to see more fresh bodies come in for Virginia Tech. And just another wave after wave of speed, technical ability coming at you.
Crane Dreyer coming in on the defensive side for Virginia Tech. Watch out for him. That's a big body at 6'5". On far post, Howard in trouble. And clearance. That was dangerous, but it will be a goal kick.
Never want that clearance to go right in front of the goal there, but luckily for Howard, able to get out of danger in that sequence. And again, Bailey, I think the substitutes are both short-term and long-term. It's such a compact season of so many games.
Renejo creating some space, goes to the ground. Chan Tack. Back heel flick to Uemana. Intercepted. Who has a goal here today. And now a free kick for Howard. So Virginia Tech went into half, up 2-0. Here we are in the second half. Hokies have already scored twice off of the boot of Chan Tack and the head of Noe Uemana. Throw in Hokies. We've got 30 minutes left in this one. Don't go away. There's more soccer after this as well. Hokies women's soccer taking on Maryland. ACC versus Big Ten. A couple of undefeated teams. Virginia Tech coming off of a draw. Here's Uemana with a little bit of space. Good sliding effort. And a goal kick. That was Perkins.
Curious to watch the body language here for Howard in this second half. We've seen a little bit more frustration, a little bit more dejection in some of these players as either to get dispossessed or knock it out of bounds. Just seen a little bit more of that here in the second half. And again, fatigue and a kind of a short bench have really compounded the issues for the Bison.
Tias Johannes. Free kick for Virginia Tech. Some Hokies reserves get some potentially great developmental minutes here. Still Troistison in this rotation. We highlighted at the beginning of the show, you can tell that with his height alone, and you saw his ability to open up his hips there a little bit, he's going to be another guy that's going to get another good shot on goal here before the end of the day if Mike Brizendine decides to bring him back in. He was excited that Troistison is healthy again after dealing with some nagging injuries. Now some space. There's Caban. Lofted pass. And Chan Tack just nudges it back off of his head to the goalkeeper in Dozier.
Yeah, good composure there from Chan Tack, heading that one down. No issues.
Dozier. Vasquez. And too high for Cornejo.
You see Virginia Tech really able to bypass some lines there, sending that one forward because they feel pretty confident about being able to win the ball back higher up the field. And so why kind of knock it around on that back line when you can just send it forward and chase down those, either win it on the first ball or second or third, because you're just a step and a half faster here this afternoon, no matter who's in there, and cycling people in and out has helped you maintain that step and a half advantage.
Another long sprint forward. Oh, look at this track meet developing. Cornejo is ready. And now it'll be a corner kick.
Yeah, Coach Dow talked to us earlier this week and said at times his defenders got caught diving for balls. That happened there just now, as Virginia Tech was able to just sprint on by and again drive towards that end line and then serve it back across.
And another corner for the Hokies. The Hamill. Punched away. Cornejo! Saved by Keeler. T.S. Johannes. Now a man down for Howard, and that's Justin Mims. As Mims might need a second. These are Howard players that have not gotten much relief.
Keeler gets that one punched away and then right back in the spot to deflect that rebound. Again, he's seen a lot of action coming his way. I know the scoreline says it is lopsided towards Virginia Tech, but Keeler has really acquitted himself about as well as he can here. It's been a tough uphill battle, as Virginia Tech has just been able to get past that back line and get in behind and force Keeler to be active and make some saves. What I like about Keeler is his ability to reposition too after an initial, maybe after an initial save or a deflection. He's able to get himself in the right spot to handle the ball coming back in.
It's interesting to think in a 4-0 game that you would want to highlight the team that's down 4-0, the goalkeeper. But, I mean, he really hasn't played a bad game today. He's been tested most of the game. He's gotten not a lot of help, and potential chance again coming up. Cornejo off the left foot. Hamill. Space out wide for Uemana, the cross. Vasquez wanted to head it home. Be a corner kick.
Yeah, when you look at Virginia Tech's 4 scores here today, they were all really well taken. And I'm not sure you could point to Keeler and say, well, he definitely should have had that one, or
right.
They've just been really well taken. It's been because Virginia Tech has been able to put so much pressure, get on that back line, have really good service in some spots that it's put their offensive players in great spots to finish off, and that makes it really difficult for a keeper.
Crane Dreyer, he was the target on that corner. Couldn't get a clean head on it.
Once again, Virginia Tech looking for that far post off the corner kick here in this half. First half was hitting those hard at the near post. This half trying to get to that far post and use the height there. Just Keeler does enough to disrupt that play.
Arieli, Cornejo. Cuts, right footer. Ricochets around out for Johannes. Free kick, Howard.
Good job. Good job drawing that foul there.
That was Cameron Wimberly.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Cameron Wimberly doesn't want to take too many touches back there, so playing that to help draw that foul is probably not a bad scenario there.
Sharif, the sophomore from Bermuda, needed some medical relief potentially. It's been all Virginia Tech here today. Coming off of a 1-0 loss against a Big Ten team on the road. Now up here against a Virginia Tech crowd that has started to trickle in. So Hokies scoring came in a flurry here in the 50th minute as we take a look at that scoring here today. Jaden Chan Tack got it started in the first half with his first ever goal. Boy, he did not hesitate on that. Bellatrosh with the header. Then here in the second half, Virginia Tech came out with fresh legs, got the goal from Uwimana, Adam, and then Chan Tack right here with the brace. Howard could not keep up with the Hokie speed, especially after a break.
Yes, it was going to likely be a war of attrition here as Howard has gone down another player or suffered another injury as we have a stoppage here. You take a look at that scoring summary. 3 different goal scorers. You like to see that, and again, the sharpness. And what I like here for Virginia Tech in the second half is exactly what we talked to Coach Brizendine about, and that was that intensity. You know, you're up 2-0, you have the ball for basically 44 out of 45 minutes, to use that metric of it. So you could maybe have a little bit of a letdown, but you didn't. You came out really sharp to start this second half, got a couple more goals to add to your tally. And I think part of that's because you are playing some different players who want to go improve themselves here in this second half and show that they deserve some minutes.
Under 24 minutes left to go here in the home opener for Virginia Tech. Arieli. And even with some substitutes mixing in and out, you see some Virginia Tech players that might be shocking to see them leave. Arieli and Chan Tack being 2 of them. Hamill. Wide open. Itani. Wimberly recovers and guards the ball for Keeler.
Good communication there by Wimberly, shielding, allowing Keeler to come out and get it. And Virginia Tech is just all over these first and second balls.
Certainly got away with foul. The referee says play on there as Hamill was twirled to the ground. Alvarez tries with the left foot. Campbell. Tough look. Vasquez off for the rebound. His first goal in a Hokie uniform. 5-0 Hokies.
Just a disaster here for Howard, trying to get the clearance. It rattles off a player. Back to Virginia Tech. Quick shot. That's what you like to see there if you're Virginia Tech. Waste no time, get that one on frame and fire it in the back of the net. Just not a good enough clearance there for Howard. First time.
At a certain point, you think for Howard, you start to feel for Coach Zhao and this team because you just see the attrition there. You see how tired these guys are. And That looked like a play that was because of that exhaustion, and there's no relief for it here for Howard in the next 22 minutes.
Yeah, because I think you're there with the ball in the middle. If it's early on, you've got your wits about you. Go, okay, I'm going to maybe turn my shoulders and play this sideways, and you're just so tired. You say, I'm just getting it out of here. I'm firing it away, and then it just deflects right off a player and back towards Virginia Tech. And I think you're 100% right. I think this fatigue has been a huge part of this match, and we kind of had a sense that that was going to be the case, and it has certainly played out that way.
So a new goalkeeper in for the Hokies, Leo Ledden, the junior from Stockholm, Sweden, and a transfer from Wofford, gives relief to the starter in Diego Dozier. Cornejo. Basically a brand new squad in for Virginia Tech now. And you know, Adam, I was saying that it was going to be shocking to see Chan Tack out of the game. And moments later, he is out, and Luke Stavro is now in. Cornejo.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think ideally you'd like to keep your back four together for most games, and you have a lot of rotations in and out of that. Maybe some on those outside back spots as you see that ball served in and over the head of everybody there. But, you know, I think ideally, like I said, you want to keep those back four intact. But I think right now with this lead, it's about saving some legs for your next match and for the rest of the season. You know, there's only a certain amount of wear and tear you want to give your players, and if you can save some of that, you can go ahead and borrow against maybe other times this season.
Throw in Tech. Landon Grains, a sophomore from Northern Virginia. Ledden. Goalkeeper making his Virginia Tech debut. Caban. Back for Caban. Defense holding tight for the Hokies. It's Caban physically working for it now. Troistisson into the game. Lloyd. And the pass leaks to the back line for the Hokies.
Even that sequence there, as Howard had something going, had a couple players offside, and ordinarily, you know, you'd see that hustle back to get onside, and just the players out there just kind of making their way back onside with not that sense of urgency that, again, I think you just have to attribute to some fatigue out there.
Johnny. Throws up a great pass. Rowan Howard. Wimberly ready to throw. So much of this game has taken place in the attacking third. A foul on Wimberly.
I think Wimberly was just fresh off of talking to, then commits that foul and earns the card.
And he had a yellow card in the last game as well against Delaware, so back-to-back games with yellow cards.
Not the way that you want to make your way into the box score.
I could hear Philip Jiao, I believe it was, telling his team, number 7 is going to get involved for Virginia Tech. Watch out. And you got to believe that is a possibility here. Look out for him. Instead, it's kept low. Volley is up and wide right.
Yeah, it's hard to miss the 6'5" stature out there. Virginia Tech still intent on that pressure.
Matthias Johannes wearing the captain's armband with Belatrash and Uemana both on the bench, likely for the rest of the game. Beltran Alvarez, through ball, Troistison, long range. Well, Troistison, I think at this point, and maybe for many of the Virginia Tech players, Adam, thinking, you know, why not?
Why not? That's exactly right. That has to be the thought. We saw a little bit of that at the end of that first half, maybe settling for those 25, 30-yard shots or anything outside the box. It's not always the bad play, but I think also consider perhaps other options. I think in that circumstance, I don't think you had a whole lot of other choices that were immediately available. So again, you're right. Why not? See that flag blowing in the background a little bit behind him as well. You get a little bit more steam on it. You were talking earlier, Bailey, about the ACC and how thin those margins are, how difficult it is in this conference to try to make your way up those standings, and it's going to be another battle this year in the conference, and it's going to be Virginia Tech. Remember that stretch last year, draws against 3 really good teams. If they get on the other end of any of those results, perhaps things change a little bit.
As Cornejo tries to build momentum for that Hokies team here. Be another corner. And Virginia Tech, their ACC record last year, 2 wins, 3 losses, 3 draws. Right on the outside looking into the NCAA tournament. There was a chance there at the end. Had a big win against a non-conference foe last year in Ohio State that kept them in that conversation.
You go up and down the schedule last year. Not a lot of bad losses, just weren't able to quite get those signature wins. You know, like I said, drawing against Virginia, draw against Marshall, and a draw against Furman, which, you know, when that's played, you think, okay, whatever. Well, Furman goes on, you know, and has a terrific season. You know, just getting on the other end of a couple of those results can really change the tenor, particularly when they occurred in the season.
Cornejo creating space for just a moment. Now, if you're Mike Brizendine, you got 15 minutes left in this game, already up 5-0. As the Hokies start to retreat back for just a moment. What do you think he's learned about his team here today?
Well, I think he's, you know, you have to like what you've seen offensively in some of these wide spaces. Another goal.
On a play like that, there's a lot to learn, especially from Mehdi Katani, the freshman, scoring for the first time. Many firsts for Virginia Tech here today. It was Chan Tack, then it was Chase Vasquez, and now the freshman in Katani, who is due for a great goal, gets one there.
Almost right on cue, working in those wide spaces. This one's taken on a short angle, but Virginia Tech been able to put themselves in some dangerous spots here, just running right at the Howard defense on almost an impossible angle as you saw that one come right at you. I think it's got to be laid off. It's got to be laid off. Nope, going to go right in.
An impressive day for Virginia Tech. And I think, you know, we're talking about what Mike Brizendine can learn. The Virginia Tech fans that have watched this game, That's another young man to look out for. He gets his first goal of his career in the 76th minute. I mean, he had a couple that were just inches away from being SportsCenter top 10 plays. And you got to think that Katani has the potential of being a star here for Virginia Tech.
Have been very impressive here today. And again, I think so much of what is said about you, what is written about you, is the consistency part. And that is really difficult for young players to find, particularly in the grind that is the college soccer season. So, you know, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer or anything like that, but it is a season-long effort and endeavor that really kind of makes your case. But certainly you got to start somewhere, and it's a great place to start if you're Virginia Tech. These contributions from such young players has to really excite you. And again, when you go back to your question, what can you take away? You know, obviously Virginia Tech has an advantage from a talent and depth standpoint here today. I don't think there's any denying that. And what I think you'd like to see is the effort that was played with here today. Really never taking the foot off the gas here this afternoon, and that's something that you can take with you. That travels, right? You could take that the entire season. So among the things and some of these offensive efforts and skill that you've seen is the overall aggressiveness that's been played with here this afternoon.
Cornejo keeping that aggressiveness going. Beltran Alvarez. Stavro. Wimberly was the target of that pass, could not catch up. Frustrating day for Howard.
It'll be interesting to see where Howard goes from here. Again, we talked about such a proud program and trying to get things going in that Northeast Conference, trying to make the postseason in that conference. We're just 4 points away from making it last year, ended up 7th on the table, but just 4 points away from making the conference tournament in that. And again, it's really tough to evaluate today with such limited personnel and being outmatched in a lot of positions, to be quite honest. But, you know, I think in that first half that they acquitted themselves, you know, relatively well, but it's just been so difficult there as that one just goes wide. It's just been so difficult as the fatigue has worn on in this one to make any sort of long-term judgments about this team this year.
Troy Stisson almost had his first goal of the year off of a good pass from Grange. Free kick coming up for Howard. Let's see what the Bison have coming up. Going at Ryder, a couple of road games before going back to DC to take on Radford. And staying in the DMV up against UMBC.
Again, it's going to be tough, particularly with 3 of those 5 matches on the road, and really what this squad needs is some healthy players.
Cornejo. Yankees not letting up with Grange.
You know, I think on the balance, it's been tough to evaluate the profile of a lot of these players here this afternoon, with the exception of Keeler, who I think, you know, again, I know the score is lopsided in Virginia Tech's fashion, but I thought in some spots played pretty well here.
Daniil Caban trying to break this shutout here. Hokies defense with fresh legs, able to swarm the starting forward. Campbell to midfield for Wimberly.
You see Virginia Tech just forcing Howard to play backwards and changing the direction that the Bison were playing, and the line that they were holding, just forcing them all the way back towards goal.
Cornejo. Under 10 minutes left. Story of the day. Oh, how good the Hokies offense looked. They were connecting balls really well. Lucas Campbell up against Lennon. Breaks into the match, and that ball sails just over the seats here at Thompson Field. Lennon came in after the starter Dozier was taken out earlier on here in the second half. Haven't seen a lot from Virginia Tech's goalkeepers today. Hasn't been necessary. And there is the highlight play for the transfer from Wofford.
You see Campbell here just really wanting to chip this over top of the keeper and get on the other end of it. And Lennon does a nice job of intervening. And cleanly as well. That can be another challenge there as the keeper comes out, making sure that you don't foul.
Stavro. Cornejo getting pulled. Wants a whistle to blow. And it does.
Yeah, definitely looking for that call. Didn't quite hear the whistle, but everybody stopped. So, and it should have been a foul as we saw the tug on the jersey there up top. And again, that's another sign of fatigue when you're starting to dive and grab like that. That's sometimes it's your only way out is just go ahead and commit the foul and settle for a restart.
Long ball up. Here's a chance. Hislop cuts to the left.
I think Hislop really needed to get rid of that and get a shot.
Caban! Lennon in the way of that shot.
Something of significance finally for Howard in that. A nice ball vertically to Hislop. I think was surprised he had the space and the acreage. Wanted to get that. I think probably needed to fire that as quickly as possible. I'm not sure Lennon was in a great spot.
Well, Troystison still wants to score. Towards net on the far post. So game one of this doubleheader here in Blacksburg, 6-0. Just under 6.5 minutes to go in this Hokies men's soccer home opener. And after this, another game coming up for Virginia Tech women's soccer. A Big Ten ACC showdown with the Terrapins. That'll come up at least 20 minutes after the close of this one. We'll be on the call for that as well. Interesting to see what Chugger Adair's team can do after coming from behind in a couple of games this season. And that last game against Liberty, that was a good Conference USA team, Adam, and they're able to force a tie after the 57-minute goal from Anna Weir.
Yeah, you love the resolve of your team coming back, except you don't love the fact that you have to come back, which Virginia Tech has had to do twice this season, has been able to accomplish the comebacks, but you don't want to put yourself in a bad spot. I think Coach Adair also alluded to the fact that even in the preseason, they were digging themselves into some holes, so we're going to watch the start of this one when we get underway to see how Virginia Tech comes out in that one.
And Maryland with 2 wins early on, up against Fordham and Fairleigh Dickinson. First Power 4 matchup for Coach Marciano's Terrapins. Under 5 minutes left here. 6-0 Virginia Tech.
Good energy here today at Thompson Field as well. You alluded to it earlier that students are back. Class is about ready to start here.
Comes Alvarez with space, tries, and blasts it over the bar.
Both of these programs love being at home. Such good records here in the friendly confines of Thompson Field.
So 4 minutes left. Chugger Adair ready to go for this game coming up. His team is undefeated, like we said, 2-0-1 after the draw against Liberty. And much like Mike Brizendine, been in charge for a long time. Had some success in the NCAA tournament. A few years ago, got to the quarterfinals, trying to get back there, if not deeper, here in 2026.
And all of the accolades we talked about, the ACC and men's soccer, you can just run it back on repeat for women's soccer as well. Premier conference in the country. Annually sends a team to the College Cup in addition to just a boatload of teams to the NCAA tournament. So if you can make your way there, you've definitely got a chance. You know, one could argue that the ACC tournament might be, you know, as tough to win as the NCAA tournament with the teams that you got to go through.
Florida State winning the national championship last year. They were not picked to finish in first in the league.
And that tells you about the league. Although the Seminoles, I believe, went down to Florida today earlier, 3-1. So an early result there against Brian Penske's squad at Florida State. I think in the national poll too, that Stanford was the #1. Stanford was #2, I think, but #1 in the ACC poll, and it was vice versa for Notre Dame.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, it's really tricky.
A lot of soccer to decide that.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It'll play itself out, won't it?
Yeah.
But it gives us something to talk about.
Right, absolutely. Space now for a moment for Troisteson. That door shuts. Johannes goes down the touchline. No whistle. Hokies want a 7th goal. Will they get it before time runs out? Yes, they will. 7-0 Virginia Tech. Troisteson joins the scoring party with 1:25 left to go here in this game.
Well, here comes essentially the extra point, but this has been a lot of Virginia Tech's MO here in the second half, driving down towards that end line, sending it back across the middle. Virginia Tech, what you see happens is the players are a little bit still faster and fresher and able to get on the other end of it here. Again, down towards that end line, and boom, right there. Got to make it more difficult. Got to step in front. You see Troisterson's he's just too good. He's just standing right there. You got to get in front.
Really effortless there for Troisteson, who stays on side.
I mean, there's no other place to be other than right in front of Troisterson there. You can't sit on the back there. You got to find your way in front. And again, I go back to, you know, the fatigue factor and you know, a little bit fresher. You might fight a little bit harder in those moments to try and get in front because again, there's no other place to be than standing in front. There.
Now another rip off of the right foot. To the 8. 30 seconds left. Booted left. Still alive. See Virginia Tech disappointed that they could not score 8. Still have 20 seconds to try it here. And a goal kick. Well, an emphatic display for Virginia Tech up against Howard. 7-0 Hokies win, scoring for the first time this season and winning for the first time this season. And winning a touchdown and an extra point up against Howard. First 7-goal win since 1973. That